This is the tutorial for Lesson 7, and Lesson 7 goes over quite a few different commands, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into them. The first one in 7a, it goes over the Phillip command. So I'm going to go ahead and start a rectangle. I'm just going to start it here. I'm going to type in some dimensions. I know in 7a they want it 3 by 2, but I'm going to make mine a little bit different, so it's not exactly the same as what you're going to do. So my horizontal dimension I'll make 6, and my vertical dimension I'll make 4. And I'm just going to go ahead and click the mouse, and there's my rectangle. Remember, this is all one object currently, and what they want us to do is they want us to fill it or make rounds on the corner. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can either type in fill it, which is what I normally do. It's also over here. There it is right there on the modify toolbar. You can click the button as well. Either way works. I'm just used to typing it in, so I'm going to go ahead and type it in. And then you need to look at your options. And generally, the main one that you're going to use most of the time is going to be R for radius. So I'm going to go ahead and hit R, enter. And then I'm going to specify a radius of, let's say, 1.25. And it gives me a little pick box. I'm going to select this line here and that line there. And there's a radius of 1.25. And if I want to do it again, I could click here. Or actually, I guess I'd have to hit escape and then hit enter. And then just go back into it. And it would allow me to do it. So click here and click there, and there it is again. If I hit enter again, and I can just continue to do it over and over again. Hit enter one more time, and I can make the entire thing filled with 1.25. So that's fillet. You can change the radius. You know, you can like if I want to do a fillet and make this a square corner again, I could actually choose the radius, hit R, enter, and then specify the radius of 0. And then if I click here and click here, that should make that square again. And I'll just do it one more time, fill it, and this time I'll do a radius of 0.5 so you can see a little bit smaller one. And I'll click here and I'll click here. So that's obviously a smaller rounded corner than the rest of these. These were, I believe, 1.25, and then that little guy right there is 0.5. So that's fillet. 7b and 7c go over chamfer, so I'm going to start out with a rectangle again, and again you need to follow the dimensions of what it says in the book. This is for demonstration purposes only, but I believe in 7b there's two different types of chamfer that you can use, and one of them that we're going to use is the distance method, and one of them is the angle method. And the easiest way to tell when to use which one is if it ever gives you an angle, use the angle method. But keep in mind, when you use the angle method, it's going to give you a distance and an angle. And if it ever gives you two distances, then you're going to use the distance method. So you can see that in 7b, for all the different chamfers that you need to do, it gives you two distances, and so you're going to use the distance method. So again, I type it in. Chamfer is right over here, right above fillet. So there it is. You can click on the button as well. I'm used to typing, so I'll type in chamfer. And you can see there is a lot of different options up here, but angle and distance are the first two. You can notice in 7b that it gives you two distances, so we obviously want to use the distance method. So D, enter, and I'll make my first distance 0.5, and I'll make my second distance 1.5. So, and then it does matter, since I put in 0.5 first, when I click on this line, it's going to be 0.5, and when I click on this line, it's going to be over 1.5. So here we go. That will be the 0.5 line, and this will be the 1.5 line. So here's how you can kind of tell what's going on there. I generally will just draw a line over here just for illustration purposes, and then draw another line up there. And now I can trim these guys off. And now you can see when I dimension this that from there to there, that's 0.5, and then obviously from here to here, that's 1.5. So it does matter which line you would have clicked on first. Since I put in 0.5 as my first distance, if I would have clicked on this line first, then this will be 0.5, and if I would have clicked on this second, then this will be 1.5. So that should illustrate you that guy right there. So one more time, chamfer, D, enter, and you can do maybe it's a distance of 2 for both of them. So maybe this one's going to be 2 that way and 2 that way, and so that would basically be a 45-degree angle because we went over 2 this way and we went down 2 that way. So that's chamfer using the distance method. Chamfer using the angle method, which you will find in 7c, is same idea. Type in chamfer, A for angle method, and then it says specify the length of the first line. It will always give you one distance and an angle. So let's say my distance is 2, and let's say my angle is 30 degrees. So I type in 30, enter, and it says specify first. There we go, and then it's going to do a 30-degree angle. Okay, so if I were to draw this back, kind of what that means is, let me put this guy here. Let me turn E-track on. I can stop this guy where I want it to go. And ortho on. There we go. Okay, let me trim these guys off so we can see this, and you'll be able to see the 30-degree angle and the distance of 2. So there's your distance of 2, and then if I choose the angle one up here, you're going to see that this is a 30-degree angle right there. So there is your angle method, and again, you are going to have to put in one distance and then the angle. So there's a chamfer with a distance of 2 and a 30-degree angle, and that is what that would look like. So that's chamfer, both the distance and the angle method. I believe 7D goes into the move command, and this is kind of cool. I'm just going to kind of draw a circle around here, draw a circle at this point right there. And what it wants you to do is it wants you to know how to move or make multiple copies of things. So I think in the past I've showed you, you can select the circle and hit Control C and Control V. The only problem with that is, and I can keep hitting Control V, is it doesn't allow me to select it on a very good spot. So what it wants you to know how to do is to be able to select many of these. So there's this guy up here, which is copy. And if I click copy right here, and it says specify from point down here. So maybe I want to grab it from the center point right here. So I click, and now I'm going to turn ortho off here. Now, no matter where I move this, I can snap every one of these to the center, and I'm copying multiple of them around. So in this case, that would work a lot better than using Control C and Control V. So it is another way to use copy. Obviously, when you look at 7B and you see all the different circles that you need to move around, this would definitely be the way that you want to do it, because it would take you much longer using Control C and Control V. So understand the usefulness of using this version of copy on the modified toolbar. Moving on to 7E, we get into the mirror command. The mirror command is a very cool command because it makes things a lot easier. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to draw a line around here, and I'm going to trim a lot of this stuff off. And then I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to leave that line there. But let's say this is half of our object right here, and we want to mirror this. Okay? So I'm going to select this whole section. I don't really need to mirror this line. That's going to be the line of which I mirror it about. So this would be considered a y-axis since it's going vertically. So here's mirror up here. It says specify start point of mirror line. This is my mirror line. I can click right there. It says delete source entities. And what that means is, do you want to delete what you are mirroring? Very rarely do I ever want to delete what I'm mirroring. So generally I just hit enter because it's no usually, and there's the exact same thing on the other side. And then a lot of times I'll get rid of that line if need be. So what it wants you to do is it wants you to draw a house. And when you look at 7E, you'll see, you draw one door and one window and one chimney on the left-hand side, and then you mirror it across. And basically, the other door and the window and everything is fine, but the house only has one fireplace, so you want to go back in and delete the second fireplace. So just another quick, I'll just kind of draw a quick little house here. My E-track settings are kind of funny, but I'll deal with that another time. Let's see. Okay, so let's say that I've got a little window here, and I've got a I don't know, part of the door over here, and I'm going to go ahead and go to snap to nearest so I can move this guy a little bit easier. Snap to nearest is one that I use quite often, but there we go. So I can get my little door going on here. And maybe I'll draw a little circle for the door handle. And then, maybe I just want to mirror this. So I go ahead and select it, click on mirror, specify first start point is here, and I just go straight up. Usually I have ortho on, and then I just hit enter, and there is my, and I might just trim this line right here so it looks something like that. And then I might draw my roof or things like that. Okay. One other thing I do want to show you is, let's say I take this guy and I want to mirror this guy again. I can mirror things at an angle. If I turn ortho off, I can mirror at that angle right there, and there it is, mirrored at a funky angle. I've never really done that. The only time I've ever really mirrored things is either for the X or the Y axis. So, for example, I may want to mirror this guy, mirror, and I may want to use ortho to mirror it that way, and that can help you out quite a bit to mirror things. So usually I'm either mirroring across a y-axis or across an x-axis. I've never really done one at an angle because it gets kind of tricky. But this can definitely help you out on things like the armature lamination, which is the one that looked like a gear that had all the teeth. You can draw a quarter of that object and now mirror it both across the x-axis and then across the y-axis as well. If something's perfectly symmetrical, it just makes your life a lot easier and a lot quicker. So that's fillet, that's chamfer, two different methods of chamfer, which is the distance method and the angle method. I showed you a new method of copying, where you can copy multiple things, and then finally the mirror command. And now that we're up through lesson 7, using trim and extend and mirror and all these different things, you should be moving fairly quickly through your drawings because you've gotten to see a lot of the most used commands so far. There's really one other one that I want to show you that will make you a lot faster. But other than that, you should be well on your way and should be improving with speed and accuracy quite dramatically. So we'll see you again with lesson 8.